4 o'clock p.m., and this is the news on Freedom. Hello, my name is Mikhail Baranov, and I'll be telling you about the important events of the day. The search operation in Ternopil is still ongoing. About 20 people are still considered missing. Rescuers and police have been working at the site of the Russian strike for the second day now. At this time, 26 people are known to have died. Among them are 3 children. About 100 more people have been injured, including 18 children. The youngest victim is only 3 months old. Let me remind you, the Russians attacked 2 apartment buildings in Ternopil. In one of them, the most damaged, 7 floors collapsed. 2 stairwells were completely burned out. A representative of the State Emergency Service of Ukraine spoke about the rescue of one of the victims.
We called for a moment of silence and heard a voice under the rubble calling for help. My colleagues and I quickly located the spot and started communicating with the victim, as well as clearing the debris. We kept in constant contact because the victim was nervous and shouting. I calmed him down, told him not to worry, not to waste his strength, because there was a lot of debris above him that needed to be cleared. Be patient and wait. We will definitely rescue you. And so we kept in contact with him. It's a miracle he survived. I've never seen people survive in such conditions before.
Last night, the Russian Federation Army once again attacked energy facilities in Ukrainian regions. This was reported by Ukrainian. Residents of parts of the Dnipro region were left without power. Energy workers are doing everything possible to repair the damaged equipment as quickly as they can. Due to previous Russian attacks, electricity consumption has been restricted in all regions of Ukraine. Emergency power outages have been implemented in Kyiv. Dnipro was hit by Russian drones. A food warehouse caught fire in the city, according to local authorities. The fire has already been extinguished, and there were no casualties. 3 people were injured as a result of Russian drone attacks on Pavlohrad and the surrounding area. One of them's in serious condition. Infrastructure was also damaged by guided bombs and UAVs. The Russians struck the Sinelnikov district. A farm caught fire in one of the communities, and animals were killed there. 4 communities in the district also came under attack from Russian drones, artillery, and Grad rockets. 1 person was killed and another injured in the Sumy region. Russian forces shelled 37 settlements in the region over the past day. Frontline areas of the Kharkiv region also came under Russian attack. 6 towns and villages were affected there. There were no casualties or injuries. In total, on Thursday night, Russia launched 136 drones at Ukraine. About 80 of them were Shaheds, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. Ukrainian air defenders neutralized 106 Russian drones in the north, south, and east of the country. Hits were recorded at 16 locations, and at 3 more sites, debris from downed UAVs fell. Ukrainian defense forces eliminated 890 Russian occupiers over the past day. Thus, according to the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, the total combat losses of the Russian army since the start of the full-scale invasion have exceeded 1,162,000 soldiers. In addition, Ukrainian defenders destroyed a tank, 2 armored vehicles, and nearly 24 of the occupiers' artillery systems. 200 combat engagements were recorded on the front lines over the past day. According to the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, a quarter of all Russian attacks were repelled by Ukrainian forces in the Pokrovsk direction. Another 25 assaults were repelled by the defense forces in the Kostiantynivka sector of the front end. Nearly 24 attempts by the Russians to break through Ukrainian defenses were stopped at the Lyman bridgehead. Military experts note that the Ukrainian armed forces are holding the defense of Pokrovsk and eliminating small groups trying to enter the city. And here, the weather plays a significant role.
When the fog clears, it turns out that the enemy has infiltrated some positions that were considered clear just yesterday, so we have to start all over again. That's why any diagrams or maps we see now regarding Pokrovsk unfortunately become outdated in a very short time. In other words, the situation's quite dynamic for us.
Poland will allocate $100 million in military aid to Ukraine. This was announced by the head of the Polish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Radoslaw Sikorski. According to him, the funds will be transferred by the end of this year. They will help finance the purchase of American weapons under the Pearl program. Ukraine is launching serial production of anti-drone cartridges. This was reported by Defense Minister Dnipro. He noted that the Ministry of Defense has codified ammunition from several Ukrainian manufacturers, which allows for the full-scale serial production of these rounds to meet the needs of the armed forces.
Thanks to the anti-drone cartridges, Ukrainian soldiers will be able to counter Russian FPVs and Mavics more effectively. Their key feature is a special warhead, which greatly increases the chances of shooting down an enemy drone. Moreover, these cartridges did not require separate weapons. They can be used with standard-issue arms as well. We are working to ensure that even more new and effective weapons appear in the arsenal of our military, strengthening their combat power and Ukraine's defense capability. Dina Shmihal, Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Facebook.
On November 20th, the world observes Universal Children's Day. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, more than 700 young Ukrainians have become victims of Russian aggression. Tens of thousands have been forcibly taken from Ukrainian territory under the pretense of evacuation, but in reality, they were abducted. Ukrainian children have been deprived of their childhood, and for many of them, volunteering has replaced the usual pastimes. Next, in a report by Natalia Belakudry, learn about children from the Kharkiv region and how they are helping the front lines.
Alexander is 14 years old. He is from the frontline city of Derhachi, which is located 25 kilometers from the Russian border. November 2022, at the school where the boy studies, the homeroom teacher suggested that the children join the volunteers and help them weave nets for the Ukrainian armed forces. Alexander was one of the first to respond, and for 3 years now he has been cutting, arranging, and packing strips of fabric meant for camouflage. The fabric is about
a meter in size. We fold it in half and then fold it in half again. We cut here at the end and here at the beginning. Then we fold it like this and cut it into 4 parts. This fabric is for ghillie-suits.
Alexander's mother, Elena, helps her son and also spends all her free time weaving nets. She says that in 2022, when they were just starting out, both of them had blisters on their fingers because they spent hours cutting up sheets and duvet covers that people brought them. Now they use special fabric, and there's already a waiting list of Ukrainian armed forces units from all over Ukraine for their nets. Elena admits that her son's childhood was neither calm nor safe, but he's ready to keep helping the army.
Their whole childhood is passed like this. No chance to play or see friends, and it's even scary to let them go outside. In Derhachi, if it's not missiles flying, it's Shaheds, or something else is flying overhead. At their age, they should just be out playing all the time. All our soldiers are now serving in the armed forces of Ukraine under unbearable conditions, making truly titanic efforts and risking their lives there, in the trenches, on the front lines. That's why it's the conscious duty of every Ukrainian to help the army.
Even 3 years after the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, you can still find shell casings on the streets of Slotno village in the Derhachi district. The Russian army is still actively shelling this settlement. This is where the Pishchelin family lives, mother Alyona and her children, Matvey and Uliana. Alyona is an artist by training, and in 2023, she turned a shell casing into an art object for the first time.
Each of us still has a child inside. Maybe it's because I'm always around my kids. That's probably why the child inside me is so naive, and I hope that everything will be okay, because it's still hard to believe that such horror is happening.
During the full-scale Russian invasion, 16-year-old Matvey and 14-year-old Ulana, together with their mother, painted dozens of rocket and bomb casings. They even got creative with the tank part.
To be honest, it's not like I know a lot about this. Honestly, it's not like I know exactly what it is, but I understand that it's kind of a symbol of what's happening right now. Not just shell casings, but a lot of other things too. Helmets, other items, some boxes. All of this reflects what's going on right now. Over all this time, we've collected a lot of these kinds of artifacts, you could say. And in this way, we kind of remind people not to forget that all of this is still going on and that something needs to be done.
The children paint on metal canvases so that the finished artworks on the shell casings can later be put up for various auctions. Their goal is to raise funds for the needs of the military.
Why'd you take 2 shades of blue?
Finish painting the flowers. What about the yellow?
And what are you using the Yelta for?
For the center.
So your flowers will be blue and yellow?
Yes.
Russia's war against Ukraine has deprived Matvey, Uliana, Sasha, and many other Ukrainian children of a peaceful and safe childhood. At this moment, more than 1.5 million children under the age of 18 are living in territories temporarily occupied by Russia and are at risk of being forcibly taken away. Thousands of young Ukrainians have already been deported to the Russian Federation or to occupied territories. Since the start of Russia's full-scale war against Ukraine, more than 700 children have been killed and 2,285 have been injured. Natalia Belakudria, Andrei Dimovoy from the Kharkiv region for Freedom TV channel.
Russia systematically terrorizes Ukrainians and is not interested in peace. This statement was made by the president of the Czech Republic, Petr Pavel. He made this comment in response to yesterday's Russian shelling of Ternopil, which claimed the lives of 26 civilians, including 3 children. The Czech leader emphasized that Ukraine has endured yet another terrible night, and this Russian strike is yet another vivid reminder that Putin's cruelty knows no bounds.
Russian officials like to claim that they don't attack civilians, but the truth is obvious. Russia is a country that systematically terrorizes ordinary residents of a neighboring country and shows no respect for the rules of civilized coexistence. It is not interested in peace. That is precisely why its success in Ukraine can't be allowed. Petr Pavel, president of the Czech Republic, on social network X.
The latest Russian attack on Ukraine, including a deadly airstrike on an apartment building in Ternopil, was also condemned by the president of Moldova. Maya Sandu called on the international community to respond to the killing of peaceful Ukrainians.
Civilians were killed, and this once again demonstrates the Kremlin's contempt for humanity. These atrocities must not become routine and require a unified international response to stop Russia's aggression. Maya Sandu, president of Moldova, on social network X.
Putin could end this war immediately, but he refuses to make any concessions. This was emphasized by the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas. She also stated that any peace plans must take into account the positions of Ukraine and the European Union.
To end the war, it's necessary for Ukrainians and Europeans to also agree to these plans. Of course, Putin could immediately end this war if he simply stopped bombing civilians and killing people, but we're not seeing any concessions from Russia. We welcome all meaningful efforts to end this war. But as we have already said, peace must be just and long-lasting. This also means that both Ukrainians and Europeans have agreed to it.
Subscribe to The Gaze and stay updated on the most important events, top news from Ukraine and all over the world, in-depth analysis, exclusive reports and interviews, all on hand in our channel. Join our community of viewers and stay tuned.